Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ITHive.org's Saturday morning tech show. The subject today, this is episode 79 for April 6th, 2019. And I just wanted to discuss today about contracts, right? So we've covered this issue before, and I got to say, for those who are watching, if you're watching this live, feel free to ask questions, point out comments or anything like that. You know, this is meant to be a live discussion, and as well, after the fact, if you're watching the recorded version of this, feel free to comment, and again, it's meant to open a dialogue and have discussion around technology and what we do with it as humans and how it affects our lives and whatnot. So, contracts. Contracts are a big part of my industry. However, for ITHive.org, we don't use them. We have agreements with our customers. We earn their business. We feel strongly that a customer does business with us because they value what we do, right? And we don't tie them in any way. If they need to change their technology provider, we will work with them and transition. That's the only professional thing to do. We don't hold on to passwords or information. Everything we know, the customer knows. And we do this for a reason, because ITHive.org feel quite strongly that a customer needs to be a customer because they want to be, not because they're forced to be, right? And I have to wonder, I'm not saying that in all cases contracts are not a bad thing. I think contracts are a good thing. I think a contract, though, should be set up to benefit both parties and not just the party writing the contract, which is unfortunately the case sometimes, right? And really, you got to ask yourself sometimes, if you read through some of these contracts from big corporate companies, right, they've got some language in there that are very anti-consumer. And I had an experience. I'm not going to talk about the company in question at this point in time, because I'm trying to work out a resolution with them. But it's really a big annoyance. We doing business with another organization, provide phone and internet service, and started this relationship 4.5 years ago, and they have in their, so originally, okay, it's all done under a contract, right? And I thought, okay, that's fine. They're going to give me a price for 3 years, and I'm going to honor that for 3 years and pay that price and get the service, right? Great, so they're offering me a deal and under the guides that we would do this deal for, 3 years. They would make a certain amount of profit from that, and I would get service. Okay, that makes sense, right? However, I recently learned that so this is a 19-page legalized contract, right? Written by lawyers. You could tell it's got lawyer all over it, right? And on item number 16, buried into the contract, it's not even like the first section, right? I have to get the details, but buried in the contract, they have this clause that's very, very anti-consumer, okay? And it states that if any changes are made, so if we move locations or anything, I ask for anything to change, they automatically renew this contract for another 3 years. Okay, so I have a big problem with that. Why? Why does that need to be in the contract? That is just an underhanded trick to get a customer to continue to do business with you. And it undermines the consumer confidence, right? And that is a huge problem. And then on top of that, never once in our time with this business have we ever been informed by any agent that when we change something, oh, by the way, Mr. Post, this will renew your contract for another 3 years. Never. Never even a mention, right? And then on top of that, when you want to get out of it, like we do now, and that's what we're negotiating, they've got huge fees to get out of it. So, and I've been talking to them, and I just question the morality of having that kind of item in your contract, because I don't see any reason for that. I don't see how that would protect the company in question or anything like that, or benefit me as a consumer. It's simply there to trick the consumer, in this case us, into doing business quite underhandedly, right? And you can see where I'm coming from this, because where I started here is that, and I feel pretty strongly about this, right? I think the business climate is changing. Consumers are getting a little bit smarter and a little bit more understanding of what they really want from big business in particular, right? And they just want to be treated like a customer, right? They want to do business with an organization and feel good about that, and feel like they're not being tricked or manipulated into doing business, right? It's just disgusting. Especially, the size of this organization that's doing this, right, is really not necessary, right? And we'll have to see what the outcome of this is. But so far, it's not playing well. They've been bullying us. They've been threatening us. They've been messing around with our service, which I don't use anyway, so it's not really an impact. But still, the language and the way I treated like a customer, well, no, I'm not at all. So it's just, and the intimidation tactics, and, it's no wonder that the telecommunications industry needs to be regulated by the federal government, right? Like, really, when your business, when your service that you provide, when that industry needs to be regulated, you have to ask yourself a question, right? Why? And then for those businesses, if you're in an industry that needs to be regulated and you answer that question, why, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to change what you do, to step up and provide the services properly to consumers, right? Make yourself one of those group of companies that don't need to be regulated, or even if the regulations are in place, you never have that issue, right? But unfortunately, in this country, with telecommunications, this is not the case. They all play the same game. Some are better than others, but they all play the same lowball game, right? And they all treat us the same way. And it's not cheap. We pay some of the highest rates for telecommunications in the world, and we get treated like dirt by these companies. And, quite frankly, I find it disgusting. Just downright disgusting. So, we'll continue the fight, and, for what's right. And I think that we'll stay tuned. I'm sure we'll talk about this again. But anyway, that's my spiel on contracts, right? And it's a big reason why ITHive.org doesn't do that. And yes, I do recognize that for some certain circumstances that a contract is necessary and required. So we're not totally opposed to that, but I'll tell you this much. If we ever write up a contract, it'll be a win-win contract. It'll be a contract that will work for us. It'll be a contract that will work for the client, and we will negotiate that, and the client will understand it, and it won't be 20 pages of legalese garbage, right? So, it doesn't have to be, right? If you run your business properly, you should need that stuff. So anyway, that's the deal. Okay, so I think this is going to come to the end of this live tech show for April 6th, 2019. Like I said before, if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to comment, and if you have any suggestions or suggestions of a topic matter that you want to discuss about next Saturday, let me know, right? This is where we are. And of course, if you need IT support, this is what we do. We'll look after you, the human being, and make sure that your world is taken care of. That's what ITHive.org is all about. All right. So for this Saturday, I will sign out, and we will talk to you later.